In this module, you've been looking at deconstructing a quantitative argument. You read an article by Catherine Rampell, and at this point, you should have answered all of the questions accompanying the module. In these questions, you examined the article from many different angles. You understood the data that was presented, you considered the logical reasoning behind the argument, and you assessed what you could draw from the data presented that was not discussed in the argument. Let's review the argument briefly. The graphs shown accompany the article and ask the question, which couples, single race or interracial couples, make more money? A number of different husband-wife combinations of different races were presented. 4 different races were considered: Asians, whites, Hispanics, and blacks. The median income of couples in each population was shown in the bar graph and ordered from highest to lowest in a vertical direction. And the percentage of all couples that were examined is included on the far right corner of the graph. Catherine Rampell, the author of the article, concluded that the information shown was driven mainly by the fact that Asians make more money. Basically, she's saying that the high values that include for couples that include at least one Asian were driven by this higher earning by Asians. Let's break the argument down further. Looking back into the article, we pulled out 3 premises. The premises shown were that new marriages with an Asian American groom and a white bride earn the most money. The converse of that group, new spouses in which the husband is white and the wife is Asian American, earn almost as much. And that the third highest earning group was couples that were included both an Asian bride and groom. These premises, plus assumptions, lead to the conclusion that the numbers reflect that Asians earn more money, period. In our logical reasoning question, recall that we identified one of the key assumptions of this argument. That is, that other factors such as age or education level are not more influential than race in determining a couple's income. Rampell is relying on the idea that this was mainly race-driven. She doesn't consider any other variables. When we looked at the data that was presented, we noted that we would technically be able to solve for the average earnings of each of the races. We were able to write 4 equations with 4 unknowns. The 4 unknowns were the contributions of white males, Asian females, and white females to the median incomes in each set of partners. This is a pretty daunting system of equations. We didn't necessarily want to try to actually solve for this. And in fact, if we tried, we'd realize that the solution was what's called undetermined, an issue that you'll study later in a linear algebra course. However, just by examining some of the basic attributes of the equations, we were able to discover something startling. If we were to simply make the assumption that Asian American males in the 2 equations that talk about Asian American males, the bottom 2 here, had the same contribution of income toward the median in each of couples that were interracial with a white woman or single race with an Asian woman, then we could calculate the difference between white female and Asian female salaries. Calculating this out, for these 2 bottom equations, the difference between white females and Asian females in income was $9,800, with white women making more money. If we were to do the same analysis for couples including a white male, assuming that the white male had a constant salary, we would find a very dissimilar conclusion, that white females earned approximately $11,000 less. This indicates that something in Rampell's argument is not necessarily true. That is, that Asian people basically earn more money all around. In fact, in each of these couples, we can see that something is just not constant. If the difference in income is a matter of Asians earning more, then a couple that includes 2 Asians should have the highest earnings. But that's not the case. In fact, interracial couples with 1 white and 1 Asian made more overall than couples including 2 Asians. As we said, something is not constant. There's some difference between the whites and Asians who are in interracial couples and the ones who are in single-race couples. This is an interesting issue, and we'll explore it more in the next module. In order to complete this exploration, we have to develop a strategy. We now understand the problem and some of the curious issues that it presents. Our strategy here would be to first explore the data given. Are there alternative sources to explain the difference in incomes among different couples? Maybe a different variable drives income. Or was there some kind of error in the way the survey was conducted that led to a bias? We can predict that a different visualization of this information or a reconfiguration of the chart presented might help to shed some light on the issue. There's a lot of data included in this chart. We see data on the survey that was conducted, data on a variety of different couple types, and data on their median salaries. We could look at a number of different ways of presenting this. And so a visualization that summarizes one or more of the issues that could be contributing to income will be valuable in solving this problem. And finally, we might need to do some outside research. After all, only data on gender and race is included in this study. As we discussed, there might be other variables driving race. This was one of the assumptions, that there weren't such variables, but it's possible that this assumption is wrong. And the fact that there's something that's inconstant among the Asians and whites in the study would lead us to believe that that is in fact the case. So with this strategy in mind, review the data again from the questions and watch the next video to solve the problem.